Welcome to the Spirit in Mind broadcast with your hosts, Bishop C. Guy Robinson and Dr. Jonathan Shepherd, where we explore faith and mental health perspectives on current affairs. Let's get into today's discussion with the Spirit in Mind.
Well, hello and good afternoon. I am so privileged to be with you all this afternoon. This is Dr. Jonathan Shepherd speaking. You are tuning in to Spirit in Mind, and we're so grateful that you are here with us listening. We are live in the studio this day, and we're so happy that you have joined us. We are ecstatic that you are listening because we know that you are faithful listeners. It amazes me literally every single week. I am running or bumping into someone who's letting me know, hey, Shep, I'm listening to Spirit in Mind. Thank you for the encouragement. Thank you for the wisdom. Thank you for the advice. Just thank you for the inspiration. And so thank you. I really can't say it enough. Thank you for being consistent listeners. I was even at one location and someone turned around and said, I've heard that voice before. Recognizing it from Spirit in Mind. And so I am privileged that our voices are being recognizable as people who are concerned about you, concerned about your mental wellness, concerned about you living the best life that God has appointed for you. Again, I'm Jonathan Shepherd, board certified child, adolescent, adult psychiatrist. I'm holding the fort down so that Bishop Robinson and I can continue to do what we do on the outside. And so thank you for connecting with us. I want to let you all know that Bishop C. Guy Robinson, who is our host and founder of this particular this show, he is not currently with us now, but let me tell you, he's listening, and I want him to know, Bishop Robinson, that we love you, sir. You can go and look up his various different ways to communicate with Bishop. Bishop has wonderful platforms. He is a preacher, he's a pastor, he's a father, he's a grandfather, he is a teacher, he's an author. He is all of those wonderful things. And so if you want to go check him out, you can go to CGR Ministries, CGR Ministries. You can check him out on YouTube. You can check him out on Facebook, on Instagram, CGR Ministries. And that way you can plug in and hear all the wonderful things that Bishop C. Guy Robinson has going on. And of course, I do have his book for those who are listening and following online. Yes, we are streaming live right now. I do have his book with me, and we'll be sharing a little bit even today from the book, The Soul Care Birthright. The Soul Care Birthright, a theology of mental health for ministerial practice. Now, I know that sounds a little technical, but let me tell you, if you haven't gotten the book, you need to get the book because it will help you as you continue in your striving to make sure that you and your congregation, and even if you're not a pastor, it definitely applies to you. If you even not a leader, it definitely applies to you because you want to be in a congregation, you want to be in a body of people where the people are informed and know how to be able to live their best lives, and not just live their best lives, live it with emotional and mental wellness. Bam, I know I said something there because we want to make sure that we are doing just that. And so again, please go ahead and thank you, man. People are logging on right now. Well, I hear you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Odell Montgomery Cooper, who I have partnered with and various other platforms. Thank you. And thank you, Sandra McCrae. Thank you, Cynthia Hackshaw. Come on, let me know that you're listening right now. You can even call into the radio station before I go into my ways in which you can communicate with me. You can call into the radio station 443-380-2803, 443-380-2803. And just let me know, hey, I'm supporting you, Shep. I know you're holding the fort down. Send me a little message. I'm checking on live stream too. Just let me know, hey, Shep, we're making sure that you're good. I am good. I'm feeling good today. And so make sure that you reach out to Bishop C. Guy Robinson. I also want you to reach out to me if you're in need of direct care services for you or your family, your child, adolescent, or even for your parent. I want to make sure that you know where to go if you live in the DMV area. I do perform services in both Maryland and in DC, but you want to be connected so that if you're in need, as you're listening to the various shows, if you're listening to this show today and you recognize that you need services, hit me up. You can go to my website, drjonathanshepard.com, and my admin team there. They will greatly be enthusiastic to serve and hear from you. I know I'm going to be happy to hear from you. And so just let us know how we can be of service to you. That is the crux and really the precipitating factor, if you would, of how we got to here, because we want to make sure that we are serving our community. That's what Spirit in Mind is about. So with that said, we're going to dive into our show. So thank you for those out there. You're still hitting me up online. I love it. I love it. I love it. So we're going to go ahead and dive on into our show today. I really want to talk about what's happening in current events. And as you know, we have been dealing with the subject matter of transitions. Our new season is about to begin here in September. And so last September, believe it or not, we started with that subject of transitions. And we literally went the whole year talking about transitions and moving into the new place at the calendar year 2024. When that began, we started talking about how to transition, how to live in the new place. And so one of the things that has been impressed upon me as I share with Bishop is just how when we move and transition, how we are still affected by the trauma that occurred in our lives or that may be occurring in our lives. And that's where I'm going to stick with today because I'm just so impressed by how many people really have been traumatized. We all have experienced trauma, honestly. Let's just be real here. We all have experienced trauma. And with that, we have to know how to be able to live through the trauma and be able to hopefully use that trauma for our good. We want to be able to grow from the things that we have experienced. And so what I'm going to do today is talk a little bit about some of the trauma, some of the things that have happened. We have embarked upon a new school year. I'm so excited about the new school year that allows for our children to learn. Being a child and adolescent psychiatrist, I see so much that happens within our schools. I hear about the various different things that distract our students as they go into the classroom. And as we know, this past week, we experienced tragedies within the classroom. If I was going to subtitle this particular show today, it probably would be Tragedies Within the Classroom, because this is such a concern of so many of our listeners, so many of our constituents who live in Maryland, the United States of America. We are concerned about our students because of the ongoing tragedies that are occurring in our classroom. Man, I wish if I could get somebody. Thank you, Joseph Miller, for hitting me up. I really need some hearts. I need some thumbs up, or you know what I'm talking about. I need to feel you out there. That even as you're driving, I can feel that vibe as I talk a lot about now in my sessions. You all know what I'm talking about. These tragedies that are occurring in our classrooms. Unfortunately, we experienced tragedies this past week, and not to date this particular show, because unfortunately these tragedies are occurring on a weekly basis. And the last one, or the most current one, I should say, occurred in Georgia, and even in our own state of Maryland. In Georgia, we had a student who was relatively new to the district. From my understanding from the reports, he had only been in the district just a couple of days, and brought a gun into the classroom, brought a gun into the school, and began to, after he left his math class, brought the gun back and shot into a classroom and killed 2 students and 2 teachers. Tragedy in the classroom. And again, these are in situations or environments where, quote unquote, this type of stuff doesn't happen. Well, we already realize that that's not true. The tragedy can occur at any place, in any environment. And so that my heart just goes out that our students, our children, whatever age they may be at, they're going into the classroom and they're not concerned about, do they come back home alive? Wow. We're looking at our students and wondering why test scores are low, why their attention is thwarted. How come teachers are battling for their ability to pay attention while in the classroom? It's not all about the phones, and I do know that that they are regulating on how we can bring phones to the classrooms now. But let me tell you all, it's not all about phones. Let's be real here. It literally is because of these different situations where our children, they don't know if they're going to come back home alive after they get on the school bus, or after their parents drop them home, or if they walk home. This is tragedies in the classroom. And so thank you, Rose Carlisle. Wow, Georgia high school mom here. Wow, I feel for you. Yes. And thank you, Dr. Cooper. It increases anxiety in the parents every day. And that's what we're dealing with this increased anxiety in our communities. The trauma that has been occurring is literally rising the level of anxiety within our classrooms. And this is where Bishop Robinson and I have been dedicated to say, we must provide some relief. We must provide some help. We want to be here to help us in reducing that anxiety. So again, my heart goes out to those in Georgia. We had an incident in Maryland, in Joppatown High School, where again, the student brought a gun, fighting in the bathroom. Now I know about those fights. I was not a fighter in high school. All right. I want nobody come up and try to tap me on the shoulder and get ready to try to fight me, anything like that. But I know about those fights. I'll leave it alone at that. And typically fights did break out in bathrooms or any places where there wasn't normally a large amount of people. And so thank you, Jonathan Williams. That's a good name. He's letting me know that he's listening. I think he might be still in Chicago. Thank you. And so we'll have a fight in the bathroom. We'll tell people to meet us in the bathroom. But in this particular case, the guy brought the gun to the bathroom and killed another peer. And I don't think he had been in that particular in that school district a week also. So isn't that interesting? There's a correlation there, that both of the perpetrators were people who were new to the environment. Wow, I'm kind of getting a download from heaven on that one. That's something that speaks to when a person is walking into an environment that is new, who is carrying old trauma or old traumatic experiences and not knowing how to handle when they get into the new environment. Wow. I hope you all are hearing me on that as I'm beginning to digest that myself, as I'm listening and reading the feedback here. We must understand that even as we look at the tragedies within the classroom, that each student, as they come in with these experiences. Some of them had tragedies as they left their home. They may have been a part of or witnessing domestic violence. They might have been witnessing where their parents were strung out. I've had situations where literally they say, Dr. Shepherd, I had to make sure that my mom was put to bed because she was drunk all night. She was overdosing on fentanyl or heroin. I mean, they don't say those particular words. I'm just using the correct terms. But yeah, they were popping pills, and literally some of the adolescents that I work with, they're having to parent the parent, and these traumas are walking into our classrooms, and it's breaking my heart. And so that's where I wanted to discuss today, is how do we work through, again, these traumas that are occurring on a weekly basis, it seems like, in our country. And so, setting up that stage, we should recognize what the effects of trauma look like. Um, yeah, we gotta remember what does trauma look like, and trauma for a person does not look like the next person sitting next to you. Trauma appears different on people. How I experience a trauma does not mean that that person who even lives in my same house or has my same last name will experience the trauma. And so we have to be careful that we don't discourage people and tell them, well, you should just get over it or you should be okay. That wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as what I went through. No, we on this show, we pass no judgment. We're not here to sit here and classify how bad something was or tell you you should be able to get over it right away. No, 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 we will not do that here. Even as you're driving, even as you're listening, even as you're sitting in your home, even as you're walking into the mall, for those who got it on their AirPods and things like that, I want you just to stop for a minute and think about the traumas that have occurred in your life, the things that you know that, wow, I wish it would have happened a different way. And then put yourself in those same situation or same shoes, if you would, as those parents now who in Georgia must now bury their their two children, or even the teachers and how their families are now affected by this. I really pray for the school. I'm not sure even how the students can go back into the classroom to learn. That is an effect of trauma. And I'm so glad I'm staying right there and I'm watching my time, because I do plan to deal with some of the treatment of trauma today. But one of the things that I really want to hit on is, how do you expect someone to walk back into an environment, into a space where they have been traumatized and think they're going to be okay? That doesn't make sense. I had the personal privilege to go up to Buffalo to the Top supermarket in 2022 after that white gentleman purposely went into the supermarket to kill Black people. Let's be clear about that. I say that confidently, as we have been able to see the various videos that he posted online. All right, enough on that. But he went in there to kill Black people. And 60 days after that massacre, I was up there when the mayor was getting ready to reopen that supermarket. And as I stood outside the gate, because they actually had a fence around the Top supermarket, as I stood outside the gate, I didn't want to go into where the officials were, even though I was invited in. I wanted to go to where the people were at. I stood out there and I felt the anger, I felt the fear, I felt the bitterness, because the people were saying, how do you expect for me to go back into a place where I witnessed a murder, where I witnessed a massacre, where I witnessed that lives were taken unnecessarily? Wow. And as I sat there and talked with some of them, my heart just was overwhelmed and bled for them, because I could feel the trauma, even though I was not there 60 days earlier when it actually occurred. I could still, even when I stepped on that property, I'm not sure if anybody else out there could ever imagine what I'm feeling or ever felt like that. When you walk into a place where a trauma has occurred, it's almost like something overwhelms. Like you feel a sense of death, like of guilt, even too, because you're looking like, why did this have to happen? Like, this should not have happened. And so I pray for those students who are going back into the classroom, whether it be at Joppatown High School in Hartford County, Maryland, or if it's the high school in Georgia. I pray for those parents. I pray for those students, because they literally have to go back into an environment where the trauma occurred. Trauma occurs even within a church. Let me go there. I go there confidently. A trauma can happen even within the four walls of a church body, where we as leaders have to be aware that people are scared at times to walk back into a church building, not because they're not trying to hear the gospel, but because they were traumatized while they were there. And so that's why I love Bishop C. Guy Robinson. That's why I love this show, because we deal with these issues. And in this book, we talk about how to be able to handle a person who's been traumatized. There is a such thing as called a trauma-informed ministry. This is what we are elevating here. This is what we are selling, if you would. This is what we're marketing, trauma-informed ministry. That is one of the major thrusts of this program. And so, in my last, I see 7 minutes, I want to talk about what that looks like, a trauma-informed ministry. And so if you get the book, and I hope you have gotten the book, you can get it on Amazon, all of your different outlets. You can go and purchase it, The Soul Care Birthright. If you look at chapter 8 within this book, it talks a lot about trauma and triage. And so in here, it talks about that the trauma-informed ministry is to embrace the mission of the church or the ministry to serve as a triage center. So let me just stop right there. If we're going to be able to serve the people who have been traumatized, we must identify ourselves as a triage center. Well, what is triage? Anybody in here, anybody out there, I'm sure has been to the emergency room. When you walk to the emergency room, you just don't walk in and just say, hey, I need help. And they just throw you in a room. They triage you. They make sure that they have looked to make sure and assessed, that's the right word, what's going on with you. So if you look up the word triage, it means to sort out. It means to be able to identify what's happening and be able to sort out so to make sure that we get the right help for you. And let me tell you, a trauma-informed ministry within a church or religious organization is such a benefit, because it allows for you to take the time to sort out and be able to assess and evaluate how we can better help and equip those persons walking in. I should not have to hear about a person's walking into any organization, whether it be religious or non-religious, and you walk in and ask for help, and they tell you, we don't do that over here. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. For those students who walk back into the high school in Georgia, who walk back into that high school in Joppatown, if I am going to be able to supply the care that is needed, then we need to make sure that even if that's not my area of expertise, I need to be able to function as a triage center and have some resources to be able to sort out and be able to say, hey, this goes in bucket A, this goes in bucket B, this goes in bucket C. But I'm not turning down the bucket and telling them to go somewhere else to look for help. I want to make that point clear, that even if you are a smaller ministry, even if you are a smaller school, even if you're a smaller or quaint organization, it still has to be some form of triage where we embrace that role. And I want to encourage people to do that, because when people walk into my office, I don't ask them, well, why are you here? I can't help you. No, I ask them, what can I do to help you? What can I do to serve you? What can I do to help with this particular situation that you have going on? And let me tell you, it's been so interesting over the last few months as people have walked into my office. And I'm talking about people who are of a noted status, who have various means. They can go anywhere. They can get any type of resource. And it blows my mind just to hear the similarities of what's happening between them and other people who may not have as much means, which tells me that when people need help, it's not about your status. It's not about your pedigree. It's not even about who you're connected to. It's about what can I do to help you. Thank you, Cynthia Hackshaw. Man, I'm loving these comments on here. Wow. Thank you, Bridget Worthing. I just want to acknowledge some of the comments that are being made here. And for those who are watching online, you can see some of those comments. I don't want to necessarily put all of that on radio, but thank you for sharing these comments because it's special, it's sensitive information. Yeah, some things have happened within some of our churches. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, Joseph, for making sure that we put the responsibility at the right people. We have to make sure that we are voting, that we are making sure that we make our voices known for the causes that we strive for. We dare not get into political talk. I mean, they'll ban me from radio, but I want to make sure that we know that our voices are heard. All right. That's not the point of this show, to endorse people. We want to make sure our voices are heard and that we make sure that we are well and that the people who we put into office are ones who hold up our values. So thank you. I appreciate that comment, Joseph. So in my last couple of moments here, so we want to make sure that we are serving as a triage center. We want to make sure that we are sorting out. We want to make sure that we have some of those resources. How do you get some of those resources? Reach out to us. You can reach out to various things online. This is actually, September is actually Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. This is a wonderful time to learn about 988. 988. Actually, Tuesday, I'm sorry, I take that back. Tomorrow, which is September 8th, I am dating the show here, but for a reason, because 988 Day is tomorrow. And you can call 988 throughout the country and get help if you are having suicidal thoughts, if that trauma has been so impactful on you that you want to take your own life. But then this coming week is International Suicide Awareness Day. That's Tuesday, September 10th. So I don't mind dating the show because we want to make sure that we have the tools that we need to be able to help. I'm looking at our time here. Let me wrap up just a couple of things here before we end out the show. I want to make sure that people understand that we should be praying for our students. Trauma-informed ministry, because of the tragedies that are occurring within our schools, are real. And so we should be praying. Parents, pray for your students. Pray for your children. Those who don't have children, pray for them. If your children are already grown, pray for them because we got to make sure that they're covered. I'm concerned about them. You should be too. I'm concerned about their emotional and mental wellness. And so we want to make sure that we are doing our part, making sure that we are participating in whatever part that we can in our communities so that we can make this place a better place to live in. So let me end right there. You've been listening to Spirit in Mind. Dr. Jonathan Shepherd here, holding down the fort. I've been loving this. Man, the time goes by so fast. I want you to tune in as we will continue to bring to you reputable information. Check us out on our websites, CGR Ministries. That's Bishop C. Guy Robinson. Check me out, drjonathanshepherd.com. Go there. We'll provide some help and resources for you. And just send us a quick message. Let us know that you're listening each week. Let us know that we're helping you. Let us know that we're inspiring you, because that is our goal and our aim. And so thank you. And we'll see you next time on Spirit in Mind.
Don't forget to follow us on social media. We're on Facebook at Spirit in Mind, and we're also on Instagram at Spirit in Mind Live. Join us next time for a new episode of Spirit in Mind.
This program is brought to you by Spirit in Mind, LLC. The views and opinions of the guests and hosts you hear